Nah, I got something to prove and I ain't never gonna give up. Plenty of juice and I ain't never gonna waste it. Something to do and I ain't never wanna quit it. So come on, get a little bit, I know you wanna play with it.
Coming to you from Studio Iguana Monk down in the Big Dirty, it's the Twisted Pop Podcast, where we explore what it means to be a working artist living in the real world. Please welcome your hosts, Larry Lines and Troy Wingstop.
All right.
Are we rolling?
I believe so.
I think I'm rolling over here. How about you?
All right.
What episode is this?
Episode 9.
Episode 9. It's supposed to be in the midweek.
The midweek I Hate Art segment.
But we didn't release it the midweek because of Harvey.
Hurricane Harvey. Settle down, Harvey. It's like going to be a catchphrase of some kind. Harvey's going to be the thing. We might as well just start making Harvey shirts right now.
Yeah.
Because that's what a mess.
Yeah.
Shut down the city for 5 days. I've been in a lot of storms, but a 5-day event, what the hell?
It's nuts.
Yeah.
You get a little stir crazy afterwards, and then everybody looked a little stir crazy at your local grocery store a little bit.
Mm-hmm. The other thing is like watching the water line.
Yeah.
You get so sick of that, and that the sound of rain in the background for 5 days, where you're just like, oh, it's raining, and it wasn't even that much wind. It was just a lot of just all this rain.
That's a perfect impression of rain.
Was it?
Yeah.
I hope it comes out.
We were talking earlier. Before we forgot to hit record buttons.
Oh no! It was when
the air conditioner.
The air conditioner.
Right. About the culture of Houston.
Oh, yes, the work culture of Houston. Nobody moves here for the view, or the movie business. They might move here for the oil industry.
Right.
But really, it's just because there's a job.
Aren't we the most diverse city in the nation now?
Yeah,
yep.
That's what I hear. Like apparently, specifically Sugarland.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, Arabic's the third most spoken language.
Yeah,
which is weird.
We're hoping to get that project.
What? Oh yeah, that's right. Make a movie.
A Sugarland project.
The Sugarland project. Yeah. That's right.
Heartbreak or no heartbreak. You got that?
Yeah. Damn vibrating phones.
I hope that picks up. So, that's the reason I moved back to this city is because of the culture here, not just for the job, the money, yeah, for sure, but because nobody pays like Houston, but consistently, but yeah, definitely.
The culture, the work culture itself. Yeah. And that's what we're seeing, right? It's
and what
like
you were saying about how people help.
Yeah, the volunteers just line up. Yeah. It's sort of an understated thing. Like I've seen a lot of the coverage trying to turn it into like other natural disasters, but it's gonna be corrected so fast because everybody's already out there. Yeah. People were volunteering before it was over.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's crazy. It's awesome.
Did I do the rain impression on this one?
I think so. Yeah. Maybe.
Rain, rain, rain. Yes, it's like.
Or maybe that's why we realized the air conditioner.
Yeah, that's right. It's 5 days of rain. Mm-hmm. Go out and watch the water line. Mm-hmm. That was the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, anyway, this is the Twisted Pop Podcast, episode 9. I'm Larry Lyons.
And this is Troy Winscott.
All right.
I hate art.
I hate art. Art is stupid. Art is boring. A-R-T-T art.
Please go first. I'll jump in and then maybe I'll talk about what's on my mind.
One of the things that is always said about Houston, right, and I'm going to make this a Houston thing because there's Harvey and we're talking about work culture, is there's if you're an artist, like you're always itching to go somewhere else. And I've lived other places, but competitive markets have a lot more people in them.
Mm-hmm.
So if like you go someplace known for art or music, then it's really saturated. It was one of the reasons I went to Berkeley. I was like, hey, there's like 10,000 rock bands and all these jazz acts and stuff. But you don't think about it when you're young before you go that you're going to be there and it's going to be 10,000 rock bands, and how are you going to distinguish yourself?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they all go see each other. No. Right? You're actually just doing, you're moving to a market that's saturated.
Mm-hmm.
So when I think of here, and some of the things that I've seen, which are not very easy in other cities, right? Like the stuff that you do, where you just go, I'm going to do a show, and then you make some stuff, and then you go find a place to host the show, and put it on their walls, and they put it on the walls, and you sell stuff, and make not a ton of money, but you're making money, and you're putting stuff out there.
That's right.
Which is something that even in Albuquerque isn't necessarily possible.
Right.
Like unless you want to make Indian art or Indian jewelry, a lot of craft stuff like that.
Right.
And in Boston, I mean, you're competing with a bunch of MFAs that have a name, and the schools are pretty committed to them being successful.
Mm-hmm.
And jazz in New York and Boston, it's there's a ton of people. And I knew musicians here that were making a living, maybe not a good living, just playing gigs. But you can make some money.
Yeah, LA's project to project oriented, where the budget goes for whatever project, whether you're in a band or a movie or whatever. New York, you may do an $800,000 show, but it could be the last show you ever do in your life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could also, as a jazz musician, be competing to play for free in a hotel. And here you might get $50 for the night, but and $50 is definitely more than $50 in New York, whatever it is.
Right.
And there are gigs to be had. You work for them. I'm sure you can get paid. There are people getting paid, or they wouldn't be there. But the Houston culture seems to be more around like what we're seeing with, people just go, yeah, I'm going to get up and do it. Of course, just like any other art scene, you have plenty of people that don't do stuff. But even when we had Mike in here before, like the stuff that he does, he's just like, I'm going to do another thing, right? I'm going to go do this.
Right.
And
that's an interesting observation, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I know that I can do that in Houston. And
Yeah.
I go, I can't do this anywhere else, but I can go do this in Houston. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe you can in another city, but
I don't know. Call in if you have a suggestion of another city that
that's easy to get started in.
Yeah.
Like that you just go, I have the balls to put this stuff out there, and then we'll see what happens. Right. Yeah, I don't know. That's really all I had to say in an I Hate Art segment. I mean, you got anything you've been thinking about?
Well, just to expound on that, I think that, there's a lot of money here, and people will buy art, and they will consume music, and they will, go out to a show, and they will. It's like when Katrina hit, or I'm sorry, not Katrina, but Ike hit. It was a massive storm, and it wiped the city out, and we were in the middle of a depression at the time, or a recession, I guess it was.
Yeah.
It was a recession, and but after 3 months, I mean, the whole country was still in a recession, but it seemed like Houston just went, yeah, I don't care anymore. I'm going to buy some stuff. I was like, well, right on. So,
well, it's oil money too. Like the oil boom took off right after the crash. There was a slight crash in 2008, and then it just went right. And then people with money want to spend it. I mean, you always want stuff like that. Yeah. And in an unsaturated market, right? Yeah. Then you find a lot of people that don't know a whole lot about art that want to buy it. Yeah. And they also want, to invest it in places like, so you have all these oil tycoons like the Kinders that put a lot of money into stuff. Yeah. Like public art projects, stuff like that.
That's great. This is a great city for that.
Yeah.
So my topic, I guess, would be, I'm trying to remember if this is a conversation you and I had like back in, was it 95 that you were in Albuquerque?
I guess it was.
When did you leave?
When did I leave Albuquerque?
Yeah.
96.
Okay, so it was 95, 96, and it could have been in the middle of when you were there. There was a story that you tell about being at Berkeley and the comment about you should have a really to expound on your art, you should either do heroin or have a really bad breakup. I think it was two separate conversations.
Yeah, there were two separate conversations. One of them, I think it was, man, I don't want to get it wrong, but somebody did a seminar at Berkeley and that I was at, and there was a girl that got up and asked, I think it was Eric Dolphy, but I can't remember. And she said, there's a feel that a lot of the greats have, and you seem to have it, and Billie Holiday, and I could list a bunch of people that have this sort of feel, and it's not really something you can practice.
Yeah.
Like you either have it or you don't, and what does it mean? I don't really know. And we could probably talk about this forever.
Did they give more examples?
There were a lot more examples just in them talking to each other, right? Going back, because he knew what she was talking about.
Yeah.
And then she said, "How do you get it?"
What are you talking about? Like Jimmy Page and Billie Holiday and like.
Yeah, like this sort of even a rhythmic
Eric
feel.
Clapton, like
there's something. There's some kind of digging that you get for this. Mm-hmm. Who knows what it is, and then the question was out there. It was illustrated, and then he was sat there thinking about it for a while. He was like, I don't know, try heroin.
Right.
And that's just not a very good answer. And everybody laughed, but it was And then the conversation that the stuff that I add on to it is, that's a good shortcut, but you have to make it back. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And heroin's a big problem right now. No, you don't want to recommend anybody do heroin. It's like, well, if you're going to go to Berkeley, you got to go through the heroin period, right? Like, or if you're going to play some jazz, you might want to try some heroin. That seems like an awful, thing to suggest.
It is.
And and then the other thing I think that was derived from that was the breakups. I don't know. Stop it.
What do you got going on over there?
I don't know.
Here, I'll segue into that. I've often described, like, people go, well, what's heroin like? And I go, oh, it's like a really bad breakup. They're like, what do you mean? It's like, okay, so Cupid shoots you with the arrow into your fucking heart, and then when somebody just breaks it off, and like you don't know, you're just like, ow!
Yeah.
But anyway, the breakup part.
Yeah, the breakup part. I think
this is the part. I remember the heroin story, but like this is the one that I'm remembering from back then.
Okay, well, the thing that you just said was I think what led to the next part of it, because Sting has to go through a breakup it seems that way from his albums anyway, right? He has to go through a breakup to do a decent album. This seems like a bad way to manage your career. It's like, I'm going to do an album, then I'm going to do a tour, and then I'm going to go to an award show, and then I'm going to get into a relationship, and then I'll hang out in that for 2 years or so. And then we're going to have a really bad breakup, and then we're going to do another album, tour, and award show.
Yeah.
Like, that seems like a bad way of doing things, but there's got to be something that makes you hungry, right?
Yeah.
And if you're not trying to prove something, like, what is it that you're doing? And actually, it was interesting. It's terrible. I'm kind of ranting, but I was thinking about what I was going to watch for a movie last night, because I was just like, we're not doing anything, and I was like, I was kind of torn between a couple of things, and I wanted to watch Apocalypse Now, and I knew that I wanted to watch it, but there are other things that I thought I should watch.
Right.
And then I was like, man, Apocalypse Now is like, this is pure passion.
Yeah.
They didn't have Save the Cat and as in their script,
right.
And go, here's our formula that we have to apply to Apocalypse Now. Right. This was like his passion. Like he's going to kill himself to get this movie done.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a lot to be said for that. Right. And like across the board. So is it heroin? Is it just something that you believe in? Right. And I get more and more, think about this more and more about, like, what do you believe in?
Right.
Like, in it doesn't matter what method you're using, if you have, like, this sort of way that you get to the point where I believe in what I'm doing, and I thought that was only particular to me, but I think it's everybody. And if you're not somebody that likes to put that much passion because you're risking disappointment, like anytime you're passionate about something, it's the same thing in a relationship, right?
Yeah.
And then I think if you're going to equate that, because I've never been a heroin user, so I wouldn't know, right? And maybe I'll never get that feel. But if you're equating it to the breakup, you know, like you go, what's heroin like? What's like a really bad breakup?
Yeah.
Then you go, well, the reason it's a really bad breakup is because you've got to stop it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's why it hurts.
Put a tourniquet on it. Yeah.
So isn't that it? Is that you have to have some kind of passion that gets you out of it?
Some kind of fortitude, yeah, and passion, yeah.
And maybe that's what
Yeah.
we're talking about.
Yeah,
Like, this is all speculative. We'll probably talk about this when we're 80, if we were alive then. You know, like, we'll have some other insight. But
Wow. Yeah.
and don't rush it.
Yeah.
I'm only 50
Right.
today.
Yeah.
Stop that. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondering about the comment, and like I remember having this discussion back then, and it's like a reoccurring theme
Yeah.
that we talk about a lot.
Yeah. How do you get there?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, there's a lot of work and crafting your way through a lot of shit that you don't want to do.
But yeah, there's also a lot of passion that comes with it. Well, passion gets noticed.
Yeah. Passion
If you're
is-
passionate about anything, I mean, people have a tendency to either believe you or run away from you.
That's true.
Right. Or be afraid of you. Yeah.
There's a, you know, and it's not just art, because I mean, this is software projects for me too. Like, it's like when I believe what I'm doing in a software project, I get a lot more traction than I do for something that I don't believe in. But I also think of it as like not a choice that I'm making. And in this conversation, it feels like I'm going, oh, there's more of a choice than I've ever really let on. Like, usually what I'm saying about it is that you have to believe in, or I have to believe in the project to do it, right? But there's also a choice in there where you go, I don't give a shit how fucked up this project is, I'm just going to do it. Especially when you think about Apocalypse Now, right?
Yeah.
And how much he had to put himself through to do that, and everybody else. I mean, we're going to go to another country, we're going to have a star that has a heart attack, and we're going to have, you know, a legend that
Right.
shows up, doesn't know anything, right?
Right.
And just makes up everything on the set.
I wonder if this is the same, like if passion equates to how some people really, really love animation, and then you have a whole nother wing of people that just hate it. It's like a lot, you know, like a cheapened, really. In some, you know, people look at it as like a cheap art form.
Yeah,
But it's like, it takes such a huge effort.
I see what
of
you're saying.
people.
Like, it's yeah, I could see people.
Unlike movies, you know, where you can walk out of a movie and go, well, there are about, 10,000 people working on that film.
Yeah,
And, there were things I like, but some people just cannot stand animation at all.
and then there's like sort of the divisions in animation. Like, some people hate anime, and some people love it,
Right.
and that's the only thing they'll watch.
Yeah.
So, but you're right. You know, some people will just sort of, oh, it's an animated film. It doesn't matter whether it was
Right.
a stylistic choice or something like that,
Yeah.
like a Scanner Darkly or
Yeah.
Waking Life.
Yeah.
Those have a profound thing just from the artistic direction, right?
Right.
And the technology used. But still, there are some people that just dismiss it. They're like, you had all these stars and then you animated them after you filmed them, right? That's
Right.
because I heard people saying that
Yeah,
too. It's like, well, they
Yeah.
seem to just detract from the detract from the message.
Yeah,
to
it's
animate it.
it's like a different lens, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else should we talk about?
I don't know, man. I think that's it.
All right, short and sweet.
Short and sweet. I mean, we don't have to go 18 hours with all this stuff like we've been doing. We're trying to hit the sweet spot. That feels like we should go longer, but I don't know. Probably not.
Well, you know, probably not.
All right. We'll be back with an interview at some point, but Harvey has delayed all of our interviews.
Yeah.
We had one with R. Danley Johnson, or R. Danley, but her flight, she's in Indiana and her flight's
Oh, that's
canceled.
right. Stuck.
Yeah, and then we were going to have a remote one with DL, and she's, I was going to schedule that, not knowing whether we were going to have power even to get something like that, but
Right.
we'll get that. And then there's another one coming with RT.
Oh yeah, RT.
Yeah, so
that'll
we'll
be
probably get him first.
Whenever we get him in here and like just sit and talk.
Yeah. And we'll have him in for other things too. So. All right.
Viva la Houston.
Thank you for listening to the Twisted Pop Podcast. For show notes, go to twistedpop.com/podcast. Merchandise at bigmyth.com. That's BIG-MYTH.com. In association with thenquit.com. Until next time, this is the Twisted Pop Podcast.